Welcome back to the chat. Two teens that set out on a 2-week Bonnie and Clyde spree are now facing charges. Police say Dalton Hayes, 18, and his 13-year-old girlfriend stole 3 vehicles, pilfered checks, and evaded police across at least 5 southern states. So we have a lot of questions to talk about with our legal contributor who is joining us now, Heather Quick. Heather, thanks for being here. All right, so let's talk about these guys. They got extradited to Kentucky, right? Is this where they're from? Why are they in Kentucky? And they crossed so many states. I mean, this is crazy. A 13-year-old and 18-year-old. What the heck are they doing?
I don't know. Trying to reenact the movies. I don't know. Really making some bad choices, some very bad choices. That's where the crime started. Certainly Florida did not have to. I think that's where they ended up, in Florida. You don't, that's really up to the states, and generally the prosecutors and the different jurisdictions are going to communicate so that they can determine where they want to send them. And so, but states cooperate. And so then we look at, okay, like you said, how many states are going to charge them? Or did they commit the crimes and cross state lines, causing it to be a federal crime?
Now this kid, the 18-year-old, has been charged with custodial interference. So what does that mean?
Yeah. What is that?
It means he's an adult and she was a minor. And so that's all that they know of thus far. It's really not good. And 13, did you see that picture of her?
Yeah.
Okay. Speaking of 13, allegedly. The mom claims, his mom claimed, Dalton's mom claimed that he didn't know that she was 13. Would that mean anything in court?
No, no, no.
So is it possible that she can be tried as an adult since she want to act like an adult?
Yes, but it's more of a question of what was their relationship. That's a lot of the issues, and if there's any kind of, statutory rape, those kind of things, because it doesn't matter. It doesn't matter how old they tell you they are. It doesn't matter. It is one of those offenses that you do it, you're guilty. Boom. It's based on the age. So I think there's going to be a lot more that's going to come out of that.
Poor kids.
Case.
Yeah,
Poor kids.
Well, meaning they've already messed up their lives with this. This is going to follow them forever.
There was another story that we were looking at, Henny. I think you were
about the local sisters who shot their brother.
Yes.
Is there any update to that?
They're not going to charge them as adults. So I think that is a wise decision by the prosecutors in that case. And so now they're still in juvenile court, and I don't know if we mentioned it before, but the issue is where are they going to go? Because we know their parents belong in custody. At least that's my opinion.
And the parents are still in custody.
I believe so.
Right?
And so now, where are they going to go? Are they going to go into the foster system? Are they in the juvenile system? I don't know that any is the right answer. They're clearly going to need a lot of help. And what kind of state resources are going to be available for them are going to be a lot of hard questions that are going to really need to be answered, whether or not criminal charges happen or not. And they will in the juvenile system, I'm sure.
Well, what are the differences between being charged as a juvenile or as an adult? I mean, obviously there are big differences.
Huge difference, because now they're in a juvenile detention center. So they're not going into adult, even though they say, adult jail, they do segregate, but it's still in an adult county facility or state prison. And there's only so much segregation you can do. So from that standpoint, they're going to remain in the juvenile system, and there are a lot of programs. There are a lot of different diversion programs that some proponents of charging as adults say, well, that's not enough. It's not strict enough for them. And yes, the court can retain jurisdiction over them beyond 18, which made people think, oh, once they're 18, they're out on the streets. That's not necessarily true in every case. So, I think this is going to be a very difficult remainder. Talk about a tough life for these girls.
And I would hope that in their juvie, in the situation that they're in, they're getting some psychological help. I mean, is that required?
Well, they should have been getting that since the first case happened years ago. But
speaking of DCF, let's talk about where they ought to be.
Absolutely.
Aiming their attention.
So a little while ago on our show, we had this little quiet talk about
with a little Greek lady named Maria.
Yeah, where is Maria, by the way?
I know,
she's catching her breath. She's catching her breath, doing some meditation. But we were talking about this story about the parents letting their young kids walk, a mile away from home, etc. Okay. So when it comes to the law and what's going on with letting kids do something on their own, be left unattended, what is the law when it comes to that?
And child neglect, because those are the potential charges that they're facing.
Right.
Right. So what we look at, are they at risk? And it's such a hard law to enforce. It's very difficult because, of course, they can say, hey, we know our kids, we know the situation they're in. But when we look at, certainly, I think the line in Florida is 10 or 11. But sometimes it's even higher, because we had a case not that long ago in the fall we talked about. It was a similar situation. Now the child was in the park by herself all day. Then we had to talk, well, what age do you leave them on their own? And parents say different things, but again, we're looking at their safety. Are they in danger? And that is such a obviously robust debate, because sometimes maybe there's more danger in the house with things that could happen versus out on the street.
Listen what we just talked about. We talked about the two local girls who are now facing these murder charges, and they were locked allegedly inside their home. They were forced to go to the bathroom in a bucket. Where was the Department of Children and Families for those two girls? Now, are they using their resources to go after a family who allowed their kids to walk home?
Two separate states, though, we
should say. Two separate states, but it's the philosophy behind it.
It's the philosophy of, let's see who can we bust. And then they let them on their way, though.
Yep.
Okay, and they don't really do a thorough investigation, and they do absolutely no follow-up, because...
Oh, is that what happens during those investigations?
Once they close it, and they have a certain period of time in Florida, like 60, 90 days, so let's get it closed. You know what, there's not enough proof, so we're closing it. And in this particular case, then they'll move it on to criminal. Now, with these children, now it is fair to say, when we're talking about maybe sexual abuse, difficult cases, proof, as to with the witnesses. I mean, the children were clearly walking on their own here. Okay,
Yeah,
so this is an easy one for everybody to gang up on them, and the parents are like, yeah, they're my kids, I let them walk home. Now, my personal philosophy may be very different, but I do believe that the laws, there is some discretion, unfortunately, as to when they're going to enforce and against whom. And, is that right to place their judgment over others? But children 10 and under, I think, there is an interest of the state to protect
the magical number. There's really some truth to what that gentleman said earlier. He's like, my concern is that I'm so afraid that they're going to be picked up by the police walking home than actually something bad happening to them, because of just that fear that they're going to be picked up by police for just walking home.
And be, traumatized. Yeah.
Yeah, so I mean, it's a touchy issue, but I think that, the laws are in place to protect children, because there are a lot of parents, as we clearly, in the other case, who don't know what they're doing and who make bad decisions.
So
and then
let's
those
put the
children
resources in that direction, perhaps.
And we should. I agree. So
what about the birthday party invoice story?
Let's talk about
fun.
that. Have you
That was a
ever
good
seen
one.
anything like that? And would this ever hold up in court, this invoice craziness?
would not. And this is so sad. Like, this is why I stay busy in divorce practice. Because this is the kind of people that are out there.
There's the invoice, order number, verbal. I love it.
And there's they made no agreement. And you have how many adults don't RSVP, and you have extra food?
But isn't there something as an oral? I mean, hey, you coming to the party? Yes. No. Is that not an oral agreement?
Not on a contract that then you're going to make me pay $15. I'll be there maybe, but then, and look at it on both sides. I mean, you're going to bind a 5-year-old
child.
a contract
to go to take to court? Is it the child, because the child was the one that actually didn't show up?
Let's have a trial. Grandma, birthday party. Ooh, we're punishing that child for wanting to be their grandparent.
Yes.
By the way, how much would this cost in small claims court if you took it to?
Okay, if they were unrepresented,
Roughly.
which of course they should never
Small
do, even in
claims.
small claims court, it would cost them like $500 to file. Over $15.
$24
People will spend
fine.
more than that on principal, though.
Yeah.
Don't be confused by that.
Asinine.
It really is, and it's sad because it's like, could have been sick. Yeah, don't bring your kid to my party.
You
I'll
never
eat
know
the
what
$20.
happened. Absolutely.
If they're throwing, it's just like, poor dysfunctional woman.
Yeah.
She's just got a lot of
She's
issues.
bitter. She's bitter.
All right. Well, thank you, Heather. As always, if you have any questions for Heather, or if you'd like to talk to her about this, who knows? Maybe you want to talk about the invoice that goes to the family for $24. You can go to our website, which is quicklawgroup.com. You can ask any questions you want, and she will get back to you there. And still to come right here on the chat, is there a right way to have an argument with your significant or insignificant other? Our relationship expert, Dr. Richard Marks, is going to join us with tips on how best to handle a dispute. This should also be a really good conversation. We'll be right back.